Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the St. Clair County EMA office, where we're going to bring you up to date on the daily recovery of the flooding that took place in St. Clair County and the surrounding communities. We told you we were going to bring in some representatives from FEMA and the Small Business Administration. We've been putting that out there for the last couple of days. I'm joined today by our St. Clair County Chairman, Mark Kern, and we've got some representatives with us, like we said we would. Chairman, we've been waiting, and you announced at the meeting Monday night, and we thought it was good that we bring this information to the citizens of the county, and so there was only one way to do that, and that's to bring the experts in to talk about it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing answers to questions. A lot of our residents in the county have been waiting since July, end of July, when the flooding happened, to get help, and now it's here. And we're lucky that we're joined today by not only FEMA, but the SBA representative has come here today. Jeannie is from FEMA, and I think, Jeannie, why don't you just start off and let people know how they can go about applying and what they can expect as far as timelines and those type of things to receive assistance.
Sure. Hi, my name is Jeannie Moran Gardner. I am the Individual Assistance Branch Director for this FEMA operation. We are very glad to be here in St. Clair County and that our programs are already up and running. More than $2 million have already been approved in total assistance. 1.4 million of that are all for individual assistance, meaning they're going to individual homeowners and renters. Our staff here are in the community, and the biggest thing I want everyone to take away is we're here to help you. I want to first discuss some just general information about this federal disaster declaration and how to receive assistance. So FEMA grant funds have been and will continue to be awarded to eligible homeowners and renters in St. Clair County and only St. Clair County, and will help to pay for uninsured or underinsured losses. Eligible losses have to be a result of the disaster and storm from July 25th to July 28th. So if you incurred damages as a result of that specific storm system, it's possible you may be eligible. FEMA grants can help jumpstart recovery for homeowners and renters. We are, though, just one piece of the larger recovery process. And working with other local, state, and federal partners, we can help those of you in St. Clair recover after this flood. Another big thing to take away is that the deadline to apply for assistance is December the 16th. The first and most important thing to do if you or someone you know were affected by this disaster is to apply. You can apply online at disasterassistance.gov. You can apply via the FEMA app. You can call 800-621-3362. And starting later this week, you can also apply at what's called a disaster recovery center. Please keep your ears to the ground. You can probably hear from the county as well when those disaster recovery centers are opening. We expect to have an announcement out very, very soon for those disaster recovery centers. As I mentioned earlier, both homeowners and renters may be eligible. So if you had a home that you own that was damaged and now is in need of basic repair, apply. If you're a renter who needed to relocate as a result of the disaster, apply. If you needed to stay, say, at a hotel, because of damage to your home, apply. If you lost any personal property or any of your personal property was damaged, apply. If you lost a vehicle or you had damage to your vehicle, apply. Maybe you're understanding our biggest advice is to apply. It is the first step. Every application, though, is unique. But if you think you had damages associated with the flood, your first step is to apply. So when you apply, there is some information that we will ask you. And I really do advise that you compile some of this information ahead of time. First is to know the basic list of damages that you experienced because of that storm system, again, between July 25th and 28th. We'll also need a good phone number to reach you. You should expect to hear from us. Also, we'll need a social security number from at least one person in your household. We also will need any insurance information, ideally also the policy number if you have access to it. I also advise, if you're willing, to have your bank account information ready so that you can sign up for direct deposit. If you are eligible for any FEMA grants, that is the fastest way to receive your grant. We can also provide a check, though, for those of you who don't want to do that or can't do that. It will be a bit slower, so if you're in a place where you can accept direct deposit, we advise that. We also will need your address at the time of the disaster, and if it's different, an address where we can reach you now. As you can imagine, there is paperwork. We need to send you things. So if those addresses are different, we will need both. Some things to expect after you apply. Based on the information you provided, an inspector might be sent to your house or your apartment. The inspector will call you to make an appointment. If you don't answer the phone, we totally understand. They should leave a way to reach back to them. Please call them back. They'll do everything that they can to get in touch with you and make an appointment. These are professional inspectors. They look at disaster damaged homes every day. That is their job. So you should expect that level of professionalism from them and know-how. They will also have an ID card that clearly shows that they are FEMA employees. If they're not carrying an ID like that, they're not with us. The damage that they assess is inputted into our system to identify if you have eligible losses. And at the same time, we're going to be working with you to make sure that every bit of supporting documentation that could prove eligibility is uploaded into your account. Now, some of that might require some technology. I do want to be clear, though, we are here to help you upload those documents at those disaster recovery centers. But if you have a computer at home or a way to upload them into your account through your phone or your own personal computer, please do that. But the Disaster Recovery Center is also a great resource to upload those documents. And if you receive, I do want to kind of underline this, you will receive a letter one way or another after you apply. It is possible that you will receive a letter that says you are ineligible. I really advise you to read the letter in its entirety. There is a lot of information in those letters. It might be in bold that it says ineligible, but those statuses can change. It might be because we just need some small little bits of information from you, one document to upload. That will be listed in the letter. Read it in its entirety. If you are confused, you can call us. You can come to the DRC. We want to help you. Along this entire experience, we are here for you. We want to help you. We want you to call our helpline, and we want you to visit our disaster recovery centers. We want to make sure that no eligible dollars are left. I do want to just take a second and thank St. Clair Emergency Management. We've been working with you guys for a few months now, and for having us on today, and for the state of Illinois for inviting us to provide support. I'd also like to thank everybody who's listening right now or who will listen in the future for inviting our staff into your community who will be here for a few months. And all of us, on behalf of everybody, we are so happy and glad to be providing support and help people through this recovery process.
Great. Before we get to Sherrod, if repairs were made, is there a reimbursement process?
Yeah, that's a great question. We never expect residents not to repair their homes. When I said that the inspectors are used to looking at properties like this, the inspectors will know if a repair has been made recently. They'll look at pictures. You don't have to have them, but do trust that our inspectors will come to the home and be able to tell if any repairs have been made. And please don't delay in making any of those repairs. Our assistance is largely financial.
I'm glad you brought up the one about the letters that are coming out, because I had a call yesterday that a lady in the Kaysville area said that an inspector had came out on a text her after they'd been out and said she was ineligible, that she would be getting a letter, and she was wanting to know what the next step would be. So I'm glad you really touched on that. So for the person, I know you're listening today, you will be getting that letter, a farm letter, and it will be in better detail. And as she said, just make sure you read every word of it, because from what we've been told is, just because you got that ineligible doesn't mean that you can't reapply again.
Correct. Everything that we have is appealable. And also, that ineligibility might be about something very simple, that one quick visit to the DRC or picking up the phone and calling the helpline might help them.
Very good.
And sometimes, so everyone that comes out will have a FEMA identifier, a badge. Sometimes there are people who are unscrupulous contractors. There will always be a way to identify whether people are really official in this process.
Yes, absolutely. The inspectors would be the ones coming to the home, though you will sometimes see people wearing FEMA shirts out in the community, visiting community-based organizations. It will be very clear that they are with FEMA, either with FEMA shirts, but also badged. They'll have identification to show that they are with us. And to your point, that's an unfortunate part of disaster recovery that sometimes does happen. I also want to reiterate, the inspector will call to make an appointment. So that should not be a big surprise that they're coming to your home. And again, they are still trained to show you their identification before you would ever grant them access to your home.
And if you have any questions, you can call our office and we can confirm to make sure that the people are legit. So there's some check and balances that are in place.
Great. So now we're going to move to the Small Business Administration. Sherrod, we really appreciate you being here today also. So how does Small Business Administration fit into this picture? We're, in large part, we're talking about residential homes, but SBA is here for assistance?
Well, yes, thank you, first of all. Thank you for having us here to share our program information. So you asked a very good question. How does SBA fit in the big picture of disaster recovery and disaster assistance? And so many times when people think of SBA or the U.S. Small Business Administration, the first thing that comes to mind is businesses. But in times of disaster, we actually assist both homeowners and renters through this process. And as Jenny was explaining the process, this process actually starts with FEMA. So most of the homeowners or renters that have experienced some level of damage to their homes and need support or assistance, they would start with FEMA. And through that process, FEMA does refer some individuals over to SBA. And when they're referred over to SBA, we do an application with those individuals. And so what I do want to emphasize that is if you get that referral from FEMA to come to SBA, we strongly encourage you to apply for SBA. I know, again, it may be, kind of strange to apply for SBA, but this is part of the disaster recovery process. And so what we want to strongly encourage every individual is to make sure that they take that application and process it. Because what happens is there still is assistance that can be provided to those individuals. If they stop at the process of once they get that referral over to SBA and decide, I don't want to apply, I don't want to do a loan, that stops your process. It stops the federal process. And what we're encouraging applicants to do is to apply for SBA. Now, when you apply for SBA, we do have low interest loans that are affordable. And these loans can assist individuals for uninsured or underinsured losses. So individuals that may not have had insurance or had any major losses, our SBA loans do help. Now, for whatever reason, if you apply for this SBA loan and you're not approved or you're denied, we do refer individuals back to FEMA. And so it's important, that's why I really strongly emphasize, do the application, because if you are not approved for an SBA loan, we do refer you back to FEMA. And FEMA may have other resources that they may be able to assist those individuals with. But if you do not take that application and you don't sit down with SBA, you stop the process right then and there. And I just want to make sure I emphasize that, because I know it can be overwhelming, especially after a disaster and experiencing a loss of any sort. It may be frustrating to feel like you have to be passed on to a loan, right? But we have individuals at our disaster recovery centers that can walk you through that process. There's no application costs. The loans are as low for our homeowners. They are as low as 1.688%. And I don't know if you've looked out lately at any banks or tried to get a home equity loan or a mortgage. Rates are extremely high right now. So this is a fixed rate that you would get at 1.688%, and as low as, and most of the individuals that do apply do get that rate. The terms are up to 30 years. Not that an individual has to take out a 30-year loan if they choose not to, but the loans are up to 30 years. And that is, again, provides an opportunity for a more affordable payment for those individuals. Again, our goal is to help you on the long term, and our goal is to help you get to the place back to wholeness as close as possible as we can. And so if you've experienced any damage, don't discard SBA in the process. Make sure you apply for these applications. I don't get paid, or any of the disaster recovery individuals don't get paid additional for any loan applications. So we're not a bank, we're not of any sort. So we are here to assist and support those individuals that have been impacted. Again, the process starts with FEMA, so I want to emphasize that. FEMA, you would go to either the the Disaster Recovery Center, or you can go to disaster to call FEMA at their 800 number, or apply online for FEMA is the starting point. From there, again, if you refer it over to SBA, we will walk you through the process. You can either go online to apply for SBA, which is at disasterloanassistance.sba.gov, or you can come to the local Disaster Recovery Center and we can assist you there, or you can call us at 1-800-659-2955. So we give you a couple of options that's convenient for the individuals, because some individuals can't come in that recovery center, so they're able to apply online if it's more convenient for them. The application process is pretty simple. They're going to collect your basic information. We're going to ask you about your income. We're going to ask you about some things that some loans, credit cards, things of that nature, because you are applying for a loan. It is a credit application. Now, when I say a credit application, I don't want to scare you, because I know, again, we're not a bank. I want to emphasize that. We're not a bank. So we're not looking for an 800 credit score, right? We're looking, again, we realize individuals have been impacted as a result of this severe flooding. We really would like to help as many people as possible. By any means, though, our goal is not to put anyone into a loan that can't afford a loan. So I want you to rest assured, if you apply for the application, we are trying to approve loans for individuals that can pay it back. And if you can't pay it back and we determine that, again, we are going to refer you back to FEMA. So we want to emphasize that. But the application process is pretty simple. You will work with a case manager. A case manager will help you determine what the damage is. There may be some cases where there's someone that will come on site to verify. In some cases, they will verify in some shape or form the damage that you incurred. From there, they will determine a loan amount, and you're assigned to a loan officer. And from that process, you can expect a turnaround time or determination between 2 to 3 weeks. In a storm like this, we do expect those turnarounds to come pretty quickly, but we do want to give you that time frame of the 2 to 3 week turnaround. Once you're approved, we can get you the loan papers. You assign those loan document papers, and disbursement will happen as quickly as 5 days. So disbursement right into your account. I do want to emphasize, some individuals are concerned about putting their home up for collateral. If the loan amount is under $25,000, if you choose to take less than $25,000, there is no collateral that you have to pledge. However, if it's over $25,000, of course, there's going to be some collateral, but that's understood. Of course, if you're borrowing $100,000 or more, the SBA does require some level of collateral. And so we do want to emphasize, again, these are low interest rate loans, affordable loans for our homeowners and our renters. And again, this is not a loan that is determined by a high credit score. It's a loan that is determined by, more so, we do take in consideration credit, we do take in consideration income, but this is determined by the damage that has occurred.
So after the storm, the county provided a lot of dumpsters, and we hauled a lot of things away. I know East St. Louis Township did the same thing. When we're talking about personal property that was damaged, how, if you had a refrigerator that was completely, without power and had to be thrown away because it was just, you couldn't keep it around, is there a way to prove that you had a refrigerator and get a replacement, or is that a difficult thing?
From an SBA standpoint, again, you're going to work with a case manager that's going to work with you. And again, this is an individual that is very used to assisting individuals that have been in this case. So in most cases, there's you will be able to prove, they'll be able to help you determine what you lost. And let me emphasize that too, because people wonder how do renters, how are they impacted? And so you bring up a good point. Any personal property, so when we think of inside the home, SBA is able to assist those individuals up to $40,000 for any damage to furniture, appliances, any loss inside the home, whether a renter or homeowner, we lend up to $40,000. When we talk about the homeowner, we're talking about that person that owns that physical structure that was damaged, but it applies to renters as well.
And Jeannie, same for FEMA?
Yeah, so personal property is definitely something that we also could potentially help support. The advice is the same though. You start by applying with FEMA, and we work with SBA to determine if a loan is not offered, if they are not referred to the SBA, or if the loan is denied in any way, it's possible that they could have some personal property assistance from FEMA. We work with FEMA, or I'm sorry, with SBA to work on personal property, honestly, as a team.
So if someone believes that they, someone knows they had damage and they're seeking help, who's the gatekeeper? What's the first thing they should do?
Apply.
And apply where?
You can apply at disasterassistance.gov. You can download the FEMA app and apply there. You can call 800, I'm so sorry, I'm blanking on the number. 621-3362. That's the first time in my career that's happened. Or, like I said, disaster recovery centers are going to be opening up very soon. Please listen out for those. There will be dates and times coming.
And I think we've got the dates. I know we got the locations. We've been told that those are all done, been signed off on. The county's already announced that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Clyde Jordan Center in East St. Louis. It's right there. You'll see on the screen at the 6855 State Street, I think, is the address. And then the second location is the Kaysville Village Hall. But they are not accepting applications right now. It'll be on Friday, is what we've been told. That we were able to announce that today, and that's what we wanted to do because our phones have been inundated with people wanting to know about. We keep hearing Christmas is coming. But I'm telling you, FEMA is here. I'm physically here. SBA is there. So. And
if I can just say about the disaster recovery centers, we will not have staff there until Friday. So please don't come until Friday.
and we've known that, and we were out there today checking on them, and so our citizens are usually pretty good about following instructions.
Can I just mention that SBA will also be a part of the disaster recovery centers. So again, if you have any questions, if you're referred to SBA, you can walk right into the center and get some assistance from SBA.
Kind of like a one-stop shop.
It's a one-stop shop, yes. You can, if you have a question about a possible loan, if you have a question about any of the FEMA assistance you've either been offered, or questions about your letters, or you want to register, you can apply at the Disaster Recovery Center.
And we're going to have those phone numbers put up on our site to where you can go back and always get it. And, as I said, the first step of it is to apply, and we can't reach that enough.
Yeah.
So we want to keep. Brian, I've seen a couple of questions on there.
Yeah, the first one was, with this just recently being declared, how are you saying that funding's already being allocated?
Right. So FEMA, the declaration for this disaster came last week. People were able to. You can apply right now by calling the number, by going to disasterassistance.gov, by going to or downloading the FEMA app and applying there, and people have. There are inspectors on the ground going to the door, and the process has started for some people who have already applied.
Well, and we were told on our daily reports that we've been getting, there's actually been people from out of the area, from the Chicago area, trying to apply. And this is primarily for St. Clair County.
It is only for St. Clair County. It's the only county that's declared. That is not an uncommon phenomenon where people will apply for assistance. They get confused by some of the messaging. Our system is prepared for that, and assistance is only available for those in St. Clair County who had damages during July 25th to 28th storm.
So the point being for that question is that there have been claims that have been called in by calling the 800 number or going online and doing it. So that's why the young lady that called yesterday was able to tell us that I had filed online. I had an inspector come out on Sunday and got a text message back from them. So that money that has been already given out there, that's the reason why. The process has been working. But I think what kind of slows the process down is when we're getting the people from outside of this area, because those claims have to be, addresses have to be confirmed and checked, and so that's going to slow it down a little bit.
You'd actually be surprised. It's one of the first things that our system flags, and it doesn't go any further.
Good. Well, that's good.
It
That's
should
good
not
to
slow
know.
anything down.
Let's go to Brian.
The next person said, if they applied online, how long after their application should they expect to hear from someone?
Right now, there's not really a timeline. They should hear relatively quickly. The most important thing I'd like to address there is after you've applied, you should have what's called a FEMA registration ID number. It's a bunch of numbers together. It usually says FEMA and then a hashtag with the number next to it. If you did not receive that number, call again. We can look up to make sure that your registration went all the way through. They should hear something, especially instructions on how to set up a disaster assistance account for their specific case and any things that we need from them. They should hear relatively quickly within days.
Okay. And to clarify also, when we did the property assessment damages, we went out to about 784 homes. Mm-hmm. People who did not get inspected then can apply, right?
Absolutely. And I'd want to really underline, if you registered 211 or you called 211 or you talked to us, maybe even me, during the preliminary damage assessment, if you worked with a voluntary agency or a faith-based organization and they helped you, that does not mean you have applied for FEMA assistance or our partnership with SBA either. If you already did that, you have to also still apply. You should have a FEMA registration ID number. That's how you'll know that your process is moving, your case is moving.
Good.
Another one asked, I'm hearing that everyone who has insurance is immediately denied. Is that accurate?
That's not completely accurate. FEMA is not able to duplicate any benefits. So the thing that comes to mind is flood insurance. This was a flood, if you have flood insurance. But our programs can support both uninsured things, but also underinsured things. It's also possible on your homeowner's insurance, you had something like a sewer backup rider or a sump pump failure rider. These are things that our caseworkers know how to work with and will work with each unique case to help deconflict. It is possible, though, you will get a letter that says you're ineligible for a certain reason. Like I said before, that might not be the end of the road for you. Please read it in its entirety. If something doesn't feel right, call. Come to the Disaster Recovery Center. We're here to help you.
What about automobiles? We had quite a few of them that were destroyed. Are they
apply?
Yes,
it's possible. Yes.
Okay.
Another question is, if I am offered an SBA loan and I deny that, am I making myself ineligible for other FEMA assistance?
Yes. It's possible that you will be eligible for other FEMA assistance, but that assistance comes first. Then you're potentially referred to SBA. If you fill out an SBA loan, you are offered the loan, you determine based on your own situation, I don't want to take this loan, the road ends there in terms of federal assistance. That being said, you can always call 211. I know that there's a tremendous network of voluntary agency and faith-based partners out here who want to also help people with their longer-term recovery.
Okay. Anything else? No other questions, Chairman?
Herb, we're not used to these proceedings. I think this is the first time in 12 years that that Illinois has seen a declaration like this. So, if you have questions, be sure you can contact us too at Emergency Management, and Herb is always there at the phone, ready to help. But we sure appreciate today both of you coming in Jeannie and Sherrod, we're glad you're part of the team, and we welcome you here to the county, and I know you're going to help a lot of people.
I want to give a special shout out to our partners. You've heard me say before, we have this huge toolbox, and inside that toolbox we have all these agencies like here today. But the EMA director, Tate Nadeau, when she called me that Monday morning and asked who my favorite IEMA director was, and I said, well, if you're telling me we got the declaration, you are. If not, I'm moving to Missouri. So, but in FEMA, all the help that we're getting from FEMA now, and yes, I know there was questions out there about why it took so long, and that's not what we're here for today. We're here because FEMA and IEMA are here. They're going to be here for the duration. I can assure you of that, because we won't let them go. So we'll have those numbers up for you. The most important thing, as you've heard here today, is you have to apply. Get out there. That's the first start of it. That gets the ball rolling. And if you have any questions, as usual, you can always call here at the St. Clair County EMA office, and one of the fine staff, I guarantee you, will answer your questions or get the answers for you. We will keep you daily, if we have to, on anything that happens. We'll be relying on any words from the team. You are now part of Team St. Clair.
Proud to be.
We are. So if there's any questions, leave them, and the staff will try to get you answers to them. And we thank everybody for taking a few moments this afternoon to get caught up on what will be a couple of months of recovery. And for the people who really, really need help, help is on the way. Thank you very much for joining us.